Hi, my name is Alex and I welcome you to today's video. Hardly a year goes by without a new game in the Atelier series. After last year's sequel to Atelier Ryza, it is now the turn of Atelier Sophie, which was released in 2016. Accordingly, in Atelier Sophie 2, the Alchemist of the Mysterious Dream, we slip back into the role of Sophie. What has changed in terms of graphics since the predecessor and whether the game as a whole is convincing can be found out in our review. Atelier Sophie 2 tells a relatively common JRPG story, which takes quite a bit of time to build up tension, especially in the beginning. The young alchemist Sophie leaves her hometown of Kirkenbell to go in search of Plagda, from whom she was separated in the dream world of Erdewij. Over the course of her adventure, as so often in the genre, she meets other friends who support her on her way. These are then used in the turn-based battle system. The special thing about this is that there are multiple parties, where 6 party members are split into 2 teams, starting seamlessly when you encounter enemies while exploring. In addition, there are no so-called dual trigger skills, where 2 characters attack together. However, none of this brings much new to the battles, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a pretty standard JRPG combat system. Of course, alchemy can't be missing in an Atelier game. Sophie 2 offers an accessible synthesis system that resembles a puzzle where you place ingredients in a panel to create new items. You can either use the standard panel or the restricted panel, in which the difficulty level and the rewards are higher. Many of the resulting items can be used in combat to heal, but can also be used to fight, giving the battles a bit more variation. Also a nice feature is the manipulation of the weather. Even though each region of Erdewij has a fixed weather, you can change it with some special tools. Changing the weather not only lets you change the landscape, but also gives you access to new and previously inaccessible areas. Besides, the weather even affects the materials you can collect in the overworld. With this, the developers from Gust, the studio behind the Atelier series, try to bring more variety into the otherwise quite monotonous JRPG gameplay. Of course, these are nice ideas, which are also very interesting the first few times, but at some point it is always the same process. However, since the focus isn't really on the gameplay mechanics, this doesn't matter too much. At least the game can convince with an exciting, although prejudice-laden story, as well as really beautifully designed worlds after the somewhat sluggish opening sequence. From a technical standpoint, the Atelier series has never been a real high flyer among JRPGs. With Ryza 1 and 2, however, they already took a step in the right direction. The same is the case for Sophie 2, which is still not a graphical masterpiece, neither on Switch nor on PS5, but it does have some pretty nice sceneries to show. Nevertheless, low-resolution textures and pop-ins are noticeable every now and then. In return, the frame rate remains stable most of the time. In some places it can drop just below the 30 frames per second mark, but this is hardly a problem due to the already slow gameplay. So let's come to a conclusion. Atelier Sophie 2 perfectly shows the constant progress of the series. Even though the gameplay is still standard JRPG fare, developer Gust can once again convince with an exciting story and interesting characters. I would have liked to go into more detail about the story in the review, but the plot is essential, which is why I wanted to anticipate as little as possible. At the same time, the game has once again been more optimized for all consoles, which is especially beneficial for Switch players. Nevertheless, the scope and graphics are still far from games like Dragon Quest XI. Overall, the game can be recommended to fans of the series, but also to fans of JRPGs in general, which was not always possible with many of the predecessors. For these reasons I rate Atelier Sophie 2, The Alchemist of the Mysterious Dream for the Nintendo Switch an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. If you liked it, we would be very happy about a like and a subscription. Or if you're interested in getting early access to our future reviews, feel free to visit our Patreon page.
Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.